Hello and welcome again to another edition of 45 City TV Roundtable. As usual, we are here every weekend to bring you the happenings in and around Liberia. Not only that, but we are here to bring to our audience the challenges that are out there and possible solutions to those challenges. So if you are just joining us on the roundtable, we want to say welcome. And do us a favor, share the broadcast. I also want to say welcome to our panelists here today. And Mr. Cannibal and Mr. Bani, you are welcome. So
Thank
today
you.
we will be discussing the role of the Ministries of Finance and Commerce in the growth of the Liberian economy. So if you have an idea what we're talking about, and if you want to contribute to this discussion, all you have to do is call us on 952-201-9287. You can call us on this number, 952-201-9287. And you can also send in your texts. We're going to read them at the appropriate time. And you can send us an email. If you look under the scrolling text over there, you can see our email. We are open to corrections, suggestions, comments, opinion, whatever you call it. I want to say welcome. This is the roundtable. I'm going to start this morning with the honorable man, Joseph Bani. He was also contesting the presidency. But we are glad to have him on the roundtable again. He is one of our regular panelists. Good morning, Mr. Bani, and welcome. And we'll also be taking your opening comments as well as you introduce yourself. Welcome to the roundtable. I am your
Thank
host,
you.
Pastor Patience.
Thank
Welcome.
you, host, Pastor
Thank,
Patient.
thank you, Pastor Patient.
Thank you. And we appreciate it again. I'm here to talk to my people. As usual, I can be excited, where we can all begin to share ideas, of how to improve our country. And when our country improve, that's saving us, especially so those of us who live abroad and have to be, caring for people out there. So when y'all see us talking about some of these things, it's not because we want job merely, but because we want a place to be better so that jobs can be created, good schools and health. Then that will save us our money we work for here. But it's like we are working for two families. We work to save our family here and the other people abroad. So it should not be anything that we just here to make mouth or to bluff, but it's all about making better our country. I'm Joseph Bani and I live in Indianapolis, Indiana.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bani. We'll come to Mr. Cannibal. You're welcome, Mr. Cannibal.
Thank you, Patient. It's a good job you've been doing as host of this roundtable every Saturday. But let me apologize to our audience that we try to do better to try to come on time because the host be waiting for us, and we still not because if Liberia is to be good, we have to make commitment to ourselves and our people. It is our people we're doing this thing for. And in fact, I have my own little show here, patient, that you know about, the Cannibal Show, which is something that I do. I have been doing since George Weah became president in Liberia because I felt that the Weah administration was not doing good for the people and I needed to speak against them. I hold no grudges for any Liberian person. But when it comes to our people and the government of the Republic of Liberia, we are the owner of the government. So it is our prerogative to try to speak against injustice in our country and try to let the government know that we're not going to sit idly by to let them plunder through Liberia and try to demean the Liberian people. Thank you.
Thank you and welcome again. Today, our topic is on the role of the Ministries of Finance and Commerce in the growth of the Liberian economy. We want to see Liberia thrive. We want to see great things happen. So that brings us to our first question here this morning after wherever you are at the time is on that side. What is the role? What is the role of commerce? And what is the role? We're going to take it step by step. You're going to start with what is the role of commerce in the growth of the Liberian economy, and what is the role of finance? So we're going to start with Mr. Barney.
All right. We all know that a country cannot survive without finance. That's the main thing. In fact, as a matter of fact, that's exactly the reason why people just run for government positions, because there they feel that the government have so much money, and they can pay themselves, they can do anything with the money. So those area of revenue collection is exactly, are the reason why most people flood in our government, whether they know something or even they know what they say they know. As far as they're concerned, as soon as they get there, they get the money. But it would take honest people and people who know what they're doing in order to work in those areas to collect our revenue, like commerce. How they're going to have an oversight in places where they can invest money, and be able to get a good turnover. But we don't have those kind of people. As a matter of fact, raising those kind of salary, because like before even the man goes to the job, he already have had that amount of money that he will be earning, and he expect the government to pay. But the people who are there are not honest. I think the government now that's coming to take power should have a full overview, of who to put in places like those, like finance and our commerce area, because those are the places that will run the government better. Without those things, we are going to be continuously in deficit, and we are going to be in debt, and the country will not run well. So I will expect this government to have an overview of our financial system, cutting salary, to be able to supplement for civil servant pay, and that will be one role of the finance minister. The checks that are coming in and the ones that are going out. But who will we trust to be in that position that will not be embezzling the money? Because again, another thing we should look at, people feel that as soon as government take place, other countries will start putting in money. But those money that are coming in, the people are investing in the country to get something out. So if we are getting the money and sending out the investment and misusing the money, the country will go broke. That would be my overview right now.
Thank you, Honorable Barney. We want to pose that same question to Mr.
Thank you.
Cannibal here. We are talking about.
I'm not
Excuse
hearing
me.
you.
Excuse me. We are talking about the role of the Ministries of Finance and the Ministry of Commerce in the growth of the Liberian economy. So, Mr. Cannibal, can you hear me? That's
Well, somebody cut me off
Can you
again.
can you hear me?
Oh, we didn't. Yeah, I
Can
can
you
hear
hear
you,
me?
Mr. Cannibal. Yes.
Oh,
And Mr.
Okay.
Barney, if you 1 minute, Mr. Cannibal. Mr. Barney,
how
if you
do I
went
put this
off,
thing on? Lord,
if you
stop.
went off and you can't hear us, you have to go out of the studio and come back in, okay? Mr. Barney, you go out and come back in. Yeah, I think he got a call and it disrupted the broadcast. So we continue with Mr. Cannibal, the role
You
of
can
the
you can
Ministry
hear
of
me?
Finance. Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. First of all, one of the things you have to understand that the Liberian people need to know this morning concerning the question or the discussion that are at hand here this morning is the definition of what the finance, what the finance ministry role is and the commerce ministry role is. The problem that we have had over the years is the fact that the commerce minister doesn't know That's why I call these people pay-taking politicians. These people are supposed to know the role of the finance ministry and the role of the commerce ministry. And if you don't know, more Liberian people don't know what commerce is supposed to be doing. The thing is just a ministry there where somebody can just go and get paid every day. The minister sit in the office, sign paper, and then get paid. When it comes to the regulations of all GDPs of Liberia, which is the gross national product, more especially as it relates to, I will use simple English because I want for Liberian people to really understand this thing we're discussing. Patient is very important.
Go ahead.
One of the group, the Ministry of Commerce is responsible to take all the goods that Liberian people got, like the diamond, gold, all of everything that had to do with our mineral resources and our GDP, to take those things into the market under Liberian law and sell those things. When it comes to the money that come out of those things, the finance handles it. The finance disperse the money, get the money where the president wants it to be, or the Congress, or the House of Representatives and Senate want that money to go. Projects that are earmarked, how is financed, and go through the Ministry of Finance, and all of our money from the sale of all of the goods that we send to the market, Liberian government, we come right back and we say, who saved our money? The treasurer of our country, the finance ministry. They are responsible for the paper trail and everything. They know. They tell the bank or the central bank, look, Brown government going to send you XYZ amount of money and this and that and the rest of it. Based on that, based on what I just talked about, that the finance, the commerce minister is responsible for all of the business. Like people want to make business in Liberia, you go through the finance ministry, commerce ministry, to get all the paperwork to establish a business and this and that, because it is what they call goods and services. It going through, they're responsible for goods and services that people will bring to the country. The commerce ministry is responsible for that. Every money that is paid to the Liberian government from businesses and things that go into the Liberian government coffers is they put out responsible for it are the finance people. But anything other than that will be what they call trickle-down economics. And trickle-down economics never work in any country. What it means is that the rich people eat first. They corrupt. They take the money that come into the country from the commerce and think to the finance ministry. They take over it, they spend it the way they want to spend it, and then the breadcrumb, the little thing that falls from their mouth, is eaten by the citizens themselves. That's why Liberia is backward on a George Weah. Now, let's look at the actual issue. When you look at commerce, commerce cannot work in Liberia. The commerce ministry is not working in Liberia because of the same thing. When you started the show, the first day we came on the show, you saw that there were mining in, I think, or bombing or somewhere there where you see people doing illegal mining, or maybe they had a company that was just illegally operating with no regulation, no nothing. They were digging all over the place for diamond and gold and all those kind of things. Those things never happen because the commerce ministry will be held responsible if the GDP of the country is extracted from the country without no accountability, which is the commerce ministry. Now, it also ties in with money as it relates to the finance ministry. Like, for instance, I was in Liberia in during the Samuel Doe time, or the early part of Samuel Doe time, when Doe printed some money they call 7 corner, some kind of money that Doe made. They call it 7 corner. When the 7 corner came to Liberia, the Ministry of Finance were responsible for all that money coming into the country and where the money was going to be going, and the budgetary allotment of the country depends on the finance ministry. Okay, now when that money came to Liberia, if you look at the backing of that money, if you put it on a scale like the United States dollar worth something because something got to back it up. Gold, diamond, and all the things had to back it up, and that's why they call it GDP. the GDP of the Republic of Liberia. How much GDP? How much GDP Liberia takes to the market every year? Based on that, in your home, you got car, you got your assets. Then you got your liquid. The liquid is the physical cash that you got in the bank, and the cars and things. Those are assets that you own. The horses and things that you own. So it's the same thing in government. It's the same thing in government. The government have not been instrumental enough to regulate how diamond and gold are removed from those various mountains. And in fact, if they know about it, they have not been able to regulate mining in our country. Somebody can get up and go dig anywhere because he got governmental authority. That is not something that's supposed to happen in Liberia.
Exactly.
That's why leaving our country poor, because those resources are not appropriated the way it's supposed to go under the commerce law. Okay? So anybody can come in and go dig anywhere, Bopolu or wherever it is, and take any diamond or find gold or find anything and say, well, this is my gold mine, this and that, and the rest of it. A case in point is what happening in Burkina Faso. If you look at Burkina Faso, there were the French people used to go there. They had gold mine and things that the French people were operating. But since Burkina Faso took over those things, Abraham Traore has said, look, we're not going to allow people to just get up and come in our country and dig gold. We're going to regulate the gold mine, and try to hire a company that will take over to be responsible, and the company will be responsible to answer to the government. Okay? To answer to the government, everything they're doing. That will create a more value in the money that Burkina Faso makes, because they have gold, they have diamond, they have these things in their arsenal, in their back pocket. It's just like you go somewhere, you go buy food. You get money, you can't buy that food. You gotta have that money to be able to buy something. You can stand up and carry a girl to a restaurant and say, give her so and so food. But if you don't have money to pay for it, where do you go? You go to jail because you will not have the money to buy it. It's the same thing, patient. And those are things that our Liberian government are lacking of. They put people in office. The man don't know anything about commerce. You put him in an office and say he's the commerce minister. He should not just going to school and going to Harvard University or going to Yale that makes somebody competent to be minister of commerce or finance.
Okay, Mr. Cannibal, can you adjust your camera? I want you to fit in the camera. Your head is off.
What's that?
Your head is off. You have to adjust your camera so you can be in the middle of it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, you can see me now?
Yeah, I can see you.
Okay. You can see me now, right?
Yes, but you have something in front of you. It's a coin or something.
Okay.
You can see me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So basically, those are things that you have to work on. The Ministry of Finance and Commerce is very important to the well-being of people. One of them, bring in business and also carry business to the market for the betterment of our country, which is Liberia. The commerce minister, that's his job, to be able to go out there and find businesses and bring in business people, talk to business people and bring business in the country, and at the same time carry business and bring business. That the role of the commerce. Then when it comes to the actual banking and budgetary allotment and how the country runs financially, the Minister of Finance responsible for that, patient. I would digress on that.
Okay, you were talking about regulations, and you said people. You made mention of minerals and all that. So in the place where we don't have regulations that really what should I say, correct?
Well, I think
that are in place. That are in place.
When you look at the law, patient, those laws are in place in Liberia. It's on the book. But the implementations of the law is where we fall short, because the implementation of the law is lacking. So if a government going to be able to define what the ministry are, like for instance, you got various ministries and agencies in Liberia. The question there is, what is their work? What are they supposed to do? You know, it's not just signing paper. It's not just sitting in a office and signing paper. Like I said, you know, the commerce minister is a very commerce minister is a very important person within the government. The assistance of the government depend on commerce. It depends on the word commerce. It defines itself. You see, commerce mean business. You know, like you going out there to farm business and bring business and carry business. You see, sell your business is you're a salesperson for the government.
It still brings us back to the question: if there's no monitoring, what can be done? What's the way forward? Let's go to Mr. Bani. We'll come back to you.
All right.
Okay, let me go out and come back, patient, because
Thank you, Mr. Carnival.
I had problem hearing Lobe.
Okay. Oh, thank you, Mr.
Because of some phone call that came in.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. When cell phone calls come, you know, you got it. Okay. As the dog was just saying, I think he pointed out several important points that need to be really looked at by the government and the people, especially when he talks about commerce. It's like this. You and I know in this country, before you get a credit, they want to check your credit history. And before that person gave you the money, they want to know if you are able to pay their money in the time frame. So that depends on your liquid cash you have and your assets. This is where Liberia goes short. And like the brother have just said, commerce is like you are going to work, or I'm the father of the home. I got to go to work. I get the money and give it to the wife to keep, and the children there will be the users. So if I can bring the money, my wife will not be able to keep the money. So commerce is very important. Like we said, regulations, our mineral resources. I am a living witness of that. In my hometown, Belayala, the Bella district of Bapul County, people go into the forest, and now in my own town, Liberian, you're listening, we have Ghanaians and we even have Russians. We have Nigeria, we have all kinds of people who have gone there because the place is gold rich. Anyone just go to the finance ministry and get a document of authority, they go and get anywhere and dig gold and dig our resources and take it away. The Chinese, why are the Chinese pouring into Africa today? Because in most of those places, they just go and bribe the corporate minister, they bribe the people, and they just give their document, they go and dig. There is no regulation. Now, this is where we go short. We say if there's no regulation. The reason we got regulations, but the corruption part is this. The Minister A, wants to have his own gold mining company. So they will overlook the regulations, and give it to their brother, sister, and just give them the money to go over to any land and just dig as much gold as they can, and they possess it, and the government is not getting any. So I think regulation should come into place. Let the government own the mineral resources. Let the government oversee us that. Because I know in time past, the government used to have full control over the gold digging. That was Wiswa. Wiswa had been known to be one of the gold mining area, gold and diamond, and I think those days the government were doing well. But since after the Civil War and thing, everything just went downhill. Corruption just overrun everything. So yes, I think like what Mr. Qualibo says, that our commerce, if those people cannot run business, if they cannot go out there to sell the country, if they can't go out to sell the resources we have, finance minister will not get the money, and if finance don't get it, treasury not going to get it. But whatever the people invest in our country, they take it out. So yes, I think I will agree that there be regulations and let the government own the mineral resources.
Okay,
But
and then the next thing is we hear the news of the currency being depreciated every day, and as compared with even neighboring countries, and so forth. So what can the government do to 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 bring in commerce?
patient. I mean, if I may respond to that,
Yeah, go ahead.
let me just digress a little bit and tell you something that happened to Liberia that many of us have not been able to pick up on, but I pick up on that all the time. You see, Liberia, there is no government owned land there. Nobody should tell you the government owned land. Because if you look at before Liberia became Liberia,
Okay,
Liberia was called,
government have something they call eminent domain. So if
yes,
they don't own
No,
they
land,
got
they can claim
they
your land
yeah,
for
they can claim
governmental
your land.
purpose.
Hmm.
they can claim your land, but let me just say something quickly before that before, I will talk about that's why I'm talking about. When you look at before the Liberian government was established in 1847, Liberia was already established on a Green Coast. Liberia was called Green Coast before the establishment of Liberia under the United States and all the people who helped to form Liberia. Now, the indigenous own the land, and those land are still possessed by the indigenous. But the question there is the government using eminent domain for developmental purpose. That's the only reason why the government can take somebody's land and say, well, we're taking the land using eminent domain. But you can't come and say, oh, I'm going to go on your land. So give me your land as a government and I will do this, I will do X, Y, Z. That's where we had to go back to the drawing board and put regulations in place. These regulations will help the Liberian government because Liberia is not a poor nation. If you look at the actual, because I will give you a case in point, which is Bon Mines, where I grew up. I grew up in Bon Mines, and the Bon Mining Company went to Bon Mines because of Zawiya Mine and Bon Mountain. The Bon Mine, for which they named the whole place, was not touched until the war came. But they were operating the Zawiya Mine, and the war came. Bomb Peak have not been touched. You know how many riches in Bomb Peak? It's a lot of riches in Bomb Peak that Liberia as a country can live off of if there is no corruption there. Then you look at the Putu Mountain. You look at many other mountains in Liberia, or the soil of our country, more especially as it relates to timber and other mineral resources and things that Liberia has. If the resources of Liberia were disseminated equally among its citizens, based on what we're discussing about commerce and the Ministry of Finance, patients will walk on the streets of gold because there are riches in Liberia. But my brother said correctly, the riches of Liberia have been sold on the black market. And the only thing the Liberian government official want to do is to wear coat suit and tie. The question there is who have been our geologists in our country? Who have been our engineers in the country? Those are white people that come from Europe, America, and other places. But the question there is why did you pay money to Maryland Technical College for your son to go to be an engineer? And then at the end of the day, when he graduates, you put him in a tight office and say, oh, let that man be a minister. So who's going to go on the field? You refuse to go on the field, so the people that go on the field, they take your riches through the back door, and you become a poor country. Now let's look at the currency. The currency are backup. Every currency that is made in a country is backed up by the GDP of that country. The money you make money, that money should have a backing. You can't be a poor man and go look for a fine woman. No way. You gotta get an ugly woman because you know the reason why you ain't got money. But if you got money, you can get a fine woman. You get any kind of nice woman at any day. It's the same thing, patient.
Mr. Cannibal, the people, Liberian people can say every Nade Tomo has his own soup.
Of
So
course.
whether you poor man, you rich man, you can find your woman. I acknowledge it to hold here. So
But the thing that is, I mean, sometimes we gotta have fun on the show, patient. But when you look at let go back to actual the reality of what we're discussing here. The key there is we have become Liberian people have become complacent when it comes to these things because the question there is you go to school, you say you got an engineering degree, and you go to Liberia, and you can't be an engineer. You don't even know how to draw plane. You know what it is to do. You know, if you're a road engineer, you don't even know how to put on quota and this and that and the rest of it. That's the dilemma we find ourselves in, where we had to import Chinese to build stadium. We had to import
But we
Chinese to
have,
build infrastructure.
don't we have the engineering department at the public works?
Of
Yeah,
course we do.
we
But
do.
the question there is,
Functioning.
how many of the engineers have gone in the field to actually
They are
see?
not functioning.
Okay, they're
Especially
not functioning.
if they're not functioning, even though we're diverting a little bit, if they're not functioning, don't you think it's the government responsibility to
Of course,
like
it is the prerogative of
Exactly.
the Liberian government.
periodic training? Like here, we do that all the time. We do monthly training, we do periodic training where or annual training and all that. There's so many training that is set in place for people that are working. So if the man is sitting since he graduated 1960 and he's still sitting in the office doing the same thing over and over, the man he has become extinct. He's not existing anymore. So
But
they need to
patient,
But I
yes,
think
the technology.
one of the things we have to, one of the things Liberian people have to understand. Let's go back to commerce and finance for a second. It's
Yeah.
the fact that we have been afraid of our own education, and people who are educated in Liberia. We have become afraid of those people. Oh my man, you know who that minister is? That man went to Yale. I mean, education is impeccable. That man, education is this and that and the rest of it. We have become afraid of educated, so-called educated people in our country, and become that because of our behavior of being afraid, have made the whole entire country to be complacent, patient. We don't want to challenge people authority. We don't want to challenge people authority, and it's the constitution provide for that, for you to challenge somebody or authority. You know, I had a blowback. I had a blowback when I first started my show. When I decided to criticize George, we are government. People started saying, "My man, you can't go to Liberia." Well, stop me from going to Liberia because George, we got criticized George. We are government,
Mhm.
and that's the complacency that we have had over time. Let me just take you back quicker, then I will digress because I see one of our panelists just came on there.
Yeah.
It's a key that William V.S. Tubman were able to leave and go on. They will come out fine. They will come out fine and murder. They will come out and his son because they spoke ill about President Tubman. That was human rights violation and violation of the Liberian people as a country. You know, because if we sit there and we look at these people because they know how to read and write or something, and we put them in the offices and they're not performing, your duty is to remove that person. You see, your duty is to remove that person and put somebody who will be competent enough. But I think we Liberian people need to step back and think, because commerce and the finance that we're discussing today, that is the bedrock of the country. That is the existence of any country. The country we live in, that's what make America existing. Commerce and finance.
Thank you, Mr. Cannibal. Let's welcome Mr. Alex Jones to the roundtable. While you are away, Mr. Jones, we have series of questions that were asked. But right now, we are talking about the currency. Liberian currency is depreciating by the day. So how can government create commerce?
Well, thank you for having me. As always, I always like to listen to the guests, the panelists, and they're all making very, very good points. To give other people a chance to to share their views on these issues. So I benefit from it. I think I will listen to Mr. Cannonball talking about the land ownership by the indigenous people, which is absolutely correct. Um, and also Mr. Bani. But the currency is a function, of exchange rate. Whenever a country goes out to purchase things, they have to buy currency that they purchasing things in. Okay. And whenever they sell stuff, they earn currency. Just simply that US currency that they have to when they sell iron ore, they earn US dollar currency, and then they have a certain amount called reserve. So if that reserve is 100 million, and let's say we import cars, we import cassava rice, we import all the other stuff, and it costs $200 million, then we owe $100 million deficit in terms of exchange. So that's what affects the exchange rate. It has nothing to do with actual politics. It has to do with economics. So now we have to pay interest on the $100 extra million. We have to go borrow it from the IMF, right, to pay for the goods that people need, and we pay our interest rates. So it comes to demand supply. We produce nothing in Liberia, including we don't feed ourselves. All the people that are walking around talking about, oh, I got farm, oh, I got this. It's a minuscule amount. Liberia, they said one time there was a discussion on the bread basket of Liberia that Lufa Kante, and I researched it. God really wanted to know if that was true. That is false. Liberia has never been able to produce enough food, oil, anything. Chicken, egg in Liberia, we have to import it. I researched and found out that Liberia is spending almost $2 to $5 million every year in terms of eggs, chicken eggs, onions. We have to import it.
So where did they get the name the bread basket, or why are they calling
That's
Lofa bread
Freeport.
basket?
Freeport is the bread basket. It's a lie. It's just somebody came up with it. I researched it. I checked around with the Liberians who look at it data. We don't have a bread basket county. No county in Liberia can feed itself. No county in Liberia can produce chicken soup. No county in Liberia can produce oil, enough oil. Vegetable oil. No county in Liberia can produce salt. So how you build a bread basket when you no county in Liberia can produce sugar? No county in Liberia can produce tea. No county in Liberia can produce chicken egg to feed its people. So Freeport is our bread basket. What we import. So it's ignorance, and it's ignorance by the so-called people they say they sent to school to Harvard, the Americans, the Gafuan, the people then that Liberian look at so highly that they know something. These people, they something wrong with them because they carry a narrative. We're all in an independent study. So the next time you hear anybody say like bread basket, I say, okay, so which country producing butter? Which country producing oil? Which country producing? You cannot be the bread basket when you go to Freeport to buy chicken soup, salt, chicken egg, onions. Then you carry it all the way to Maryland County or Dima County. Then you talk about you get bread basket. When they say bread basket, it means the things that you use. Yeah, they call it CPI, your consumer price index. The things that you use, they take about 10 or 15 items. They're not physically bread they're talking about. So, but to answer your question, the reality is that our government is a fraud. It's a scam by the rich, by from going all the way back where the American Liberian came to Liberia, the enslaved people that were free, and they were gangster. They saw this land a means to live well and enslave the people and take all their land and resources and go out and borrow from the international community. So bottom line is it starts from the leadership of the country. So they crafted this corrupt political, patronage system where they always got to win the election. Then they took a few country people, the stupid ones, and then they put them in the House of Representatives, and they were eating, right? And they are the ones today who are exploiting their own people, their own country. That's what in Liberia, you have no country. I mean, no cities. If you go to Bobolo County, all the minerals that are being extracted from there, there's no regional government. There's no city government there that collect a dime. Everything goes straight to when Mr. Bonnie can speak to it. That's why you don't have any development. So it's a criminal government that we have in Liberia that exploit the people. They take that money and they put it in foreign bank accounts. They don't produce anything. And that what brought the coup in Liberia by Samuel Doe. People got tired. And the ordinary people from the country now, they say indigenous people are the one who are legislators, are the one who are senators, and what they do, they join the same what his name, Myra Shaw, Congo boss, those crooks, right? They join the Ajibor Bonas, like John Weir's a countryman. So he taking advice on who the Ajibor Bonar and the other people in there, they eating their own money. The Ellen Johnson Salif, the Amos Sawyers, late Amos Sawyers, they're all criminals. They're all government criminals. They're stealing from the indigenous people. They get nothing in return. And they pocket most of that money and they send the children to school in America. They go to America for a visit. All the people to go to jail. The day Liberia get a good government, They block out all of them, they're criminals, because what they do is they join that same elite group of people and they take from the people. So they don't produce anything in Liberia. Chicken. You can't be producing chicken. That where it takes to produce chicken. We can feed ourselves on chicken. We gotta import chicken. The Leonie men gotta come chicken feed. They gotta break them and import it. And who getting the input cost and the input money and the benefits? They're saying Ellen Johnson Salive and the Robert Salive and the same people. So it's just a matter of lack of education by the indigenous people. The first time in Liberia that will come out and say, we are not going to give our resources, 50% of what you take from in our county or our city or our district must remain here or will become an independent county. You have that right. That the time Liberia will change. If you have a town, you have your people in your town or your district. If you get together and say, no, nothing leaving from here again until we get 50% of it, in the United States of America, that's why you had the 13 colonies. The 13 colonies, they didn't sit down and say, oh, Jefferson and they can't take all our resources, all our tobacco, and export it to England, and then they will decide who will carry rule. No, the 13 countries said, you know what? Everything in our country, Virginia, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, we control the resources here. That's why you have the United States the way it is, where each state, they make all the commerce laws in those states. They collect the taxes on those on the state revenue. The only federal tax you get is the way you call it. And some states don't even charge income tax. It's the federal income tax. That's what you get. But all the resources that the state has their own commerce, the state have their own treasury, their own revenue department, and that's why you see America develop. Not because you get Joe Biden or you get Trump. You can get anybody to be president. The fact is, your state, your county, your towns, resources, more than half of it will remain in that county. And that's what needs to be done in Liberia.
Okay, thank you. We want to go to we are here for only an hour, so we want to go to Mr. Bani. We want to give our own suggestion to some of the some of the challenges that Liberia is facing. So if we were to give, like 3 solutions or possible recommendations so that Liberia can thrive, so we can move from the place where we are always in a downward trend when it comes to the economy, and we are among the top countries that are ranked the poorest of the poorest. We want to move from that bracket, and we want to see Liberia at another level where we are on the right track and we are thriving, and the citizens, they are more productive and so forth. So what would be your 3 recommendations, Mr. Bani, for Liberia to see herself thrive, move from where we are to the next level? Oh, sorry, let me unmute you. Oh my goodness. Go ahead, Mr. Bani.
Okay, number 1 would be what we're just talking about, regulations. And I can give you a vivid example or an incident. Nathaniel McGill, being that he's from the Bella district, and with the Bella district, actually is still a virgin when it comes to mineral resources. We got timbers. Why is it a virgin? Because there is not roads in the area, that people can extract timbers. It was during Charles Taylor time and Ellen Johnson Sirleaf time that we have feeder roads just to extract our timbers. And then in that proceeding, the starts going digging goals. So what am I saying this? Nathaniel McGill took Russians. Can you imagine? Foreigners. They went to the town, in my town, Bel Air. The water that is there, the money that has been there from 1910, that town was discovered. That water has been our source of drinking and recreation. Guess what he did? He sent those people there with bulldozers. The road, there is no road. No guy just drove in a muddy road. went in there and destroyed the creek in the name of digging gold for Nathaniel McGill, all because he was assistant to the president. And nobody said a word to him. I went there in person. I got pictures of those places that he destroyed. Now today, he didn't even put a hand pump for the people to get drinking water. He destroyed the town drinking water. So you see the level of corruption and people just doing things in Liberia without any oversight, without any rules or regulations. So I would suggest that this government put down a strong regulation of our mineral resources, or especially so those areas that we can extract money to be able to feed the country. And number two, let us put people who are qualified for the job in the area of the jobs. Like we're talking about engineers. We have a lot of engineers that come up from LU, from the college in Maryland, and other colleges. But these people are displaced, are misplaced. You are an engineer that put you in the classroom to teach 7th graders, to teach 9th graders, or some of them there's no jobs creation. Let's put people in those places of their expertise. And I think we can get the best result out of them. And number three, we have to do with the government oversight. Let there be an oversight of every ministry, especially those places that bring in money to the country and send out. Let there be an oversight. I think the last time we talked, somebody said that, that was the young man that was on there, he said that let there be an oversight.
That was the
yeah, oversight committees that will go to finance ministry and see, maybe they give a period, 3 months, 6 months, or whatever time the period will be, to go there and examine the checks that went out and the ones that came in. They go to commerce, they go to Freeport, and they go to these various ministries that has to do with the functioning of the government. We don't have those kind of people. And chances are, even when we have those people, some of them, they might bribe them, because if they went to finance minister and they found that American took $10 million, he will bribe them with $2 or $3 million, and they will cover it up. So I'm talking about honest Liberians who know the job. So those are my three.
I want to ask Mr. Barney a quick question.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Barney, you talk about the government should have oversight. This is a government, or these were governments that they themselves are corrupt. So how is a corrupt people going to put oversight over themselves? They themselves benefiting. The IMF is benefiting. The World Bank is benefiting because their corporations from their countries go to Liberia and they take the better yala, wastewater, the better yala diamond gold. So how would you expect them to benefit from something where they're making $1 million from? That's one. The second thing here is you said we should go to LU and we should take qualified Liberians. Everybody in the House of Representatives, everybody who will become minister in Liberia is qualified. At least they have a college degree. The Arbor chairman is a geologist. Arbor chair was Senate Pro Tem. He's a geologist by profession. He was Senate Pro Tem. Why he didn't? He come from Sano or what you call one? I think Sano or Grand Crew County. Look at that place that look like a complete, Stone Age. So you take the same man with a geologist degree, right? You put him in the House of Representatives, and yet our children are in school here in America. All his children are in school in America from high school. He's making about what $200,000-$300,000 a year. That the man you expect to go and regulate himself and change things.
Now the regulations I'm talking about are this. If I went to LU, I graduated as a geologist, or whichever area of my expertise, and I went for the job to government. Don't let me go. Don't put me in an area. I'm talking about employment. Government employing, government replacing me or you. Now, like you, if I was a president, man, like you, I'll put you into the area of your expertise. I'm not going to say go to Belayada and be the town chief or be the superintendent. that you will not function there well. And that's what the Liberian government doing. They are putting people in place of, outside their expertise. So they go there and like they are learning on the job. They're leaving their job field and doing something else that does not have anything to do with their field. So the only way Liberia will benefit are putting people in it. Okay, a geologist, he's in the house. Is he going to be digging the water to find gold? You know, he can. So if he was on the field, he will be able to extract places, to see places where the government can be able to get revenue. But the man is in the house outside of his expertise.
Thank you, Mr.
That's what I'm
Bami.
talking
Thank
about.
you. Thank you. We're going to go to Mr. Cannibal. We are making recommendations here. We want to see the country thrive. What will you say? Sorry, Mr. Cannibal. Yeah,
if I can give you my three, before I make my 3 points, I will also talk about something that Liberian people have not been able to look at since their country was founded, and my brother Alex threw a little light on it, but he didn't go too far. We don't have a local government in our country, and it means a whole lot. We don't have a federal system, or local government is something that we need in our country. The superintendent, when you look at the superintendent appointment by the president, I think it's wrong. It has been wrong from the time Liberia was established, and it continues to be wrong. If for some reason the superintendent is appointed by the president, he worked at the pleasure, the concern and pleasure of the president. He had nobody to report to. He had nothing to do. He can't do no deed. He not compared to do any development in the various counties. Those are some of the loopholes that people use to destroy Liberia, like my brother Alice was talking about. Commerce-wise and economically, Liberia is destroyed because they put a superintendent in office that the president appoints. Those positions, the superintendent position this time in our country, we need a referendum in Liberia so that we can elect superintendent. Because if the superintendent is elected, if I elected somebody from Mianakan, where I come from, to be superintendent of Mianakan, you owe your loyalty to the Liberian people. You owe your loyalty to the people of Mianakan, not to some president. And that's where the Liberian people become complacent. If you go back to the election that is taking place in Liberia right now, patient, there was a bill that was passed by Ellen Johnson Sirleaf that a lot of people did not take notice of, but I take notice of a lot of things that goes on in Liberia. They call it the population threshold bill. If you go back to our constitution before the amendment, the constitution stipulated that 25,000 people, when you have 25,000 people in an area, you can create a district. It brought development into Liberia during low development took place on a William R. Tubber, because when you get 25 people, 25,000 people in an area, you can have a representative. But Ellen Johnson said they want a quick fix. So what it did was they decided to change it and bring about something called population threshold bill, because she was going to be the beneficiary of that. She and her cronies. They made it 50,000. They made it 50,000 to a district. 50,000 people to a district. Listen, the government cannot be decentralized like that. You cannot run a government like that, because there will be no development whatsoever. Superintendent is serving at the will and pleasure of the president. Then, of course, you bring about something called population threshold bill. The reason why my father was very popular in Liberia, and Tom Wuweyu, his name was Thomas Smith. The reason why my father was a very popular man, my father did not go to no university, he didn't go anywhere. But my father was the one that brought about the township of New Green in Grand Balakande. When you cross St. John River from that St. John River going all the way to Yewin and all those places there in Buchanan, my father, William Smith, was the one that turned that place into township. Because what the Congo used to do was, Joshua Hamane, they used to come and take everybody men and carry them number one, compound number one on their farm to go brush.
So my father saw that and said, no, let me go to the superintendent office and ask questions. He went to the superintendent office and asked questions and said, well, how can I stop this problem that is taking place in our place? They said, well, gather 500 signatures those days. So my father went and called Tom Williams and said, I send you to school. I send you to Bible High School, you Lampo. I send you to school, you my son. So go gather 500 signatures and bring it so that we can have time to here. Let people stop taking our people from here. And because the post had to make their farm and feed their family. What I'm trying to tell you, patient, it's a very bad thing for our people. When these people like Alex, I've always said on the show, have become complacent of the leadership of our country. Now, that changed the face of Nuclear, because Nuclear became a township, so they could not come and take everybody men and carry them to compound and want to go branch again because the place was a township. And then who should become the first township commissioner? They turned to my father and said, send your brother by that law, Wilbur Smith become a township commissioner. My father said, no, I'm not a governmental material. I got my business. I'm a businessman. So my father said, well, if you want me to recommend somebody, my cousin Jimmy Horace can become the township commissioner for Nuclear Township. What I'm trying to tell you, patient, is the fact that these people changed the constitution for their own political aggrandizement. LNM, there was no reason why when the United Nations came in when the war subsided in Liberia for them to have ran that population threshold bill through the House of Representatives and Senate. But it go back to the education. If people are not educated, if people don't know anything, they bring brown envelope to them, and that's all they look at, for them to destroy their own country. You see? So we have to wake up. We have to wake up to actually know what is going on. And I will start on that and then give you the three proposals that I can give for development of Liberia.
Yeah.
Number one, the oversight that we talk about, there are other people that should be oversight on top of them. Because in this country, when they give you a job, when you work in law enforcement, I work in law enforcement here in America. When you're working, the American government will send somebody, they're watching you. But then somebody else watching, that person are watching you. You see, that's how American government run. Because they want to know your complacency, number one, they want to know your corrupt attitude. That's why people go to jail in America. Then they got something called whistleblower. Whistleblower. Liberian government doesn't have a whistleblower. The question there can be no repercussion when it comes to a whistleblower. Whistleblower that work in the federal ministry had to be put in place in Liberia so that if somebody corrupt, people should be free to speak. People should be free to talk. You know, it will stop these things. Lastly, Congress and the Ministry of Finance are responsible for the economic downturn in our country on a larger scale, patient, because our money become worthless if there is no commerce. Money are not changing hand. The Alex said, when you don't have backing, you got $2 million in your coffer this morning, then you go credit 300. I mean, you got 2 million, then you credit 3 million. You're running what they call a deficit completely. So how can you not have? I mean, if you get 2 million now, you will borrow 1 million, so that way you still have money in a coffer. But in Liberian people go borrow millions of dollars, and they don't have that money to back it up. And more especially, they're not doing anything to put a storage measure in place to try to stop all of these irregularities, financial irregularities that are taking place in our country. And they are so lazy. I will rest on this one. They are so lazy, patient, to actually get up and do anything for the country, more especially as they relate to commerce and finances. Lazy people.
Thank you, Mr. Cannibal. We want to go to Chuchu Jones.
Yeah, and I agree with most of those recommendations. The way I see the solution in Liberia is a very, very simple one. You know, sometimes things are so simple that you tend to overlook it. The key to Liberia progress, okay, is for cities and towns to become independent. Okay. Every resources in Liberia is in a city and a town. All the wealth of the country in cities or town. It's not all what you call Capital Hill. Capital Hill has nothing. They produce nothing. Okay. But that's where they take everything away from everybody else. The reason I'm so dangerous in Liberian politics, all right, is simply because I'm exposing the source of the problem. And sooner or later, the people will catch on to that. Okay. A government cannot function if it does not exploit its own people, the indigenous people. The indigenous people in Liberia has been manipulated into believing that if you send somebody from your county as a representative, they dare to represent you. That's the brainwash they've gotten. But that person is not representing you. That person is representing the interests of the president. That's why you hear all the brown envelope, all the bills that can be passing like bro. Every year they pass budget. Every year they pass, even when the president travel abroad. There's a video right now where Joe Barker has already promised the legislators $25,000 each if they approve certain nominees. A video by a representative.
What?
So your representative is supposed to go there and go and fight Joe Barker. What he's doing, he's taking his $25,000. You think who he's going to represent? It's just like here. If your child or if you are in trouble, right, and you're looking for a lawyer, you don't care whether that lawyer speak your same language, that lawyer, that black man, that white man, that blue man. All you want is the best lawyer to represent you, correct?
Correct.
So in Liberia, the idea that if I'm not Bele man, I can represent the Bele region. Okay, that's the problem. So they take people from the county sometimes who are not qualified, who are indisposed. They don't have the independence. The only job of somebody representing a county or a district is that that person will fight tooth and nail, whoever, whether that United Nations, whether that IMF, whether that World Bank. When World Bank comes and say, oh, bring this company from Netherlands to come mine diamond, that person will get on every TV radio and say, no, the only way the Netherlands company come here, that white man, black man, I don't care, unless the people of that country get 50% of that company. My recommendation is there's a book called The Looting Machine. In Looting Machine, I came across this book from the Foreign Relations panel discussion. It was written by this guy called Tom Burgess, that I put on the screen if you allow me. It's free on Amazon. Can you guys see it?
No.
No, but my screen is so dark, I won't see it.
Let
Let's
me see.
talk about it.
Wait. Let me see if I can pull it up.
Okay. It's on Amazon. I think it's free if you have the Amazon Prime. Every Liberian who wants to go into politics or who wants to represent the people or they have a better should read this book. This book was written by a journalist called Tom Burgess. He spent about 15 years going around different African countries, from South Africa to Nigeria. He was in Jos when the massacre happened. Guinea-Conakry when they had the protests with the Captain Dadas, when they killed the people. I think he was there. He went to all African countries. He lived there. He went every part of the country. And this was what he came out to. And the title is The Looting Machine. Warlords, oligarchs, corporations, smugglers, and the theft for African wealth. When he wrote this book, first of all, before he published this book, the corporations in America, the IMF, or in fact, he even exposed the IMF in this book, the World Bank, the IMF. He did a statistic. He went to Ghana. He talked about how much gold Ghana has exported over the last 20 years, and they've gotten nothing for it. He talked about the cyanide pollution in Ghana. They threatened him with lawsuit to not publish this book. Okay? He's a Financial Times journalist. When he got done writing the book, he was admitted in a psychiatric ward when he went back to London. And he talks about it in the book because He was so conflicted. He was so conflicted how much cruelty and who these governments are actually working for and how this loot network. So for you see, before Joe Biden even became president, he go to Washington, D.C., then he take picture with a few people. You know what they're doing there? They're already deciding to sell your future and all your resources, and they get their own share, right? And all happens to the global organization. That's how they like to pick stupid president. The Western world will never accept any kind of knowledgeable president who know finance, business, economics, can think independent. They will always take like a Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, who part of them. They will take what a guy named Ebola in Nigeria. They will take people who that Boaka, because why? Those are the people who can help them get rich. Okay, those are the people who will help them get rich. So they'll take these people, they support their campaign, they support them in the PR. So that read this book. You can even get the audio tape. Read that book if you ever thinking about running in April, because it will teach you so much. And we're reading, like I said, by a white man, a financial journalist. So that's my solution in terms of your government is not going to fix it. That's the bottom line. The government you have elected is not in your interest. So therefore, the people, wherever country you're from, wherever district you're from, gather your people and resist that government. That government is not there for you. It's not there for your people. That's why the government can spend $650,000 just on inauguration. Who benefiting? The government can spend $600 million budget and you don't see a dime in your village. You think an accident? All day you're running around saying, I got representative, I got senator. Why, if you have representative and senator, why no money has come to your district to go build one or two little, the teachers in your district so they can't even pay them? But yet, yes, a government that's benefiting every year. If you look at it, if they even spend $500 million in the budget, 5 years time, that's $2.5 billion, right? So 6 years, that's $3 billion. Every 6 years, the Liberian government is collecting in revenues and loans and taxes, and you can show me one Liberian that got in one dime from in any village that say this money here is tax rebate, this money here is for social services, like here how unemployment or something like that, or to give farmers money so that they can go and buy tractors, or you will never see it. So the IMF is part of it, the World Bank is part of it, and the people in government, they are part of it. It's a racket. It's a racket. So you read that book, it exposes everything. They try to kill this guy. They try to get rid of him. And he wrote that book as his contribution to Africa. But few people know about it. I stumbled upon it one day because they were having the discussion, and then Nick came and I read that book over 10 times. Over 10 times I read that book. And so the thing is not a Liberian thing. Look at Ghana today. Ghana used to be called the Gold Coast. Ghana is rich. Ghana is democratic. Ghana has educated people with finance minister. Ghana has good schools, colleges. Why is Ghana poor? Why are the Ghanaians suffering? I live in Ghana. Accra, not Ghana. Go to parts of Ghana. The only time Ghana really improved in Liberia under Jerry Rawlings. That the only time Ghana really move up, where the people themselves started to benefit. So we have to get a deeper understanding of what's happening and start expecting this government to do anything better. I can sit down here, I can bet anybody my last $2. Whether it's Joe Walker, whether they will never improve things in Liberia. That's why I even gotta wait. Because I know you never had a finance minister or commerce minister in Liberia, or at least of late, that have been a real successful business person. Everybody a politician. Why you think it would take a guy from school who don't have any business, somebody like Kafun, you don't have any business experience, never working, banking, nothing, and then making finance minister? Why? They want an idiot. They want an idiot so that Firestone and all these companies you sign over 67 contract concession agreements, and you get nothing for it. But you say you got people there who got master's degree. because that's the plan. Liberia, Africa is a resource state where the world uses their own leaders to take it. And that's why you see now in Burkina Faso, in Ghana, so that's why they push this democracy. They have with a democracy, oh yeah, you have a democratic, because you know what? That's part of the game plan. Because they know they will be able to get, idiots, and then the people will feel really represented. But we can make it all. But that's what's happening. And the people in the counties and the people in the district, there's only the only solution. Gather your people in your county, go to your people, you speak your tribe, you tell them, say, all your wealth in this place here. Then they take all the other government thing. But you see any government officials in your town or your village or your district, kick them out. Kick them out. Government revenue officer, kick them out. Tell them, say the Constitution provide for you to be able to have authority in your town, your village, and your land. When you start doing that, then they will come to you to kind of negotiate now. They'll say, okay, we'll give you 10%. So if all the counties and all the districts are doing that and say, no, we want you to come build school, we can build our own school. We're just saying, if you have a diamond mine, you have a concession yet. We want to, we ourselves will go and hire our own expert. We work for the government, that the person will kind of negotiate for us. And that person ain't got to be Liberian. Okay, that person ain't gonna be Liberian. You get together, you go that if an iron ore come there, the people in that time you get together, you're gonna take your last $2, you put it together, you pay somebody who now working for the government and say this is our negotiator. You don't use your own representative because they're all corrupt. And you'll see the benefit you get. Sooner you'll see towns and villages and districts in Liberia getting 10, 15, $20 million. That's how you can help your people. And the press has to do, like this guy is just a journalist that nobody heard about. And look how he exposed the whole Africa. You talk about the Chinese companies, the American companies, the mining companies. So thank you very much. And I hope we'll continue this discussion.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Jones. I know you said a lot, and we will continue this discussion next week, Saturday. But just a recap of all the things we have said, not all the things, just a recap of just a little bit. We talk about regulations. We talk about oversight. We talk about, putting qualified people into strategic places because you want results. We talk about local governments being elected by the people, especially when it comes to superintendent and all that. We talk about people should be free to express themselves and their needs, what they need for the counties. And also we talk about independence. You talk about these villages.
Autonomy.
Yeah. So whatever they need in those areas, they need to have a specific representation that will be able to vouch for them, will be able to put the right cards on the table that would benefit that community. So there's a lot in this, in this discussion that we have. It's like we just brush over. We didn't go into details, but I believe the book sounds so interesting. The looting machine. I'm going to look for it. I'm going to do my own research so I can dive into it and see what's in it. But this has been a production by the Fortify City Media Network, and this is the Roundtable. I have with me in studio Mr. Cannibal, Mr. Barney, and Mr. Jules. They were our studio panelists today, our panelists on the roundtable. And we want to say thank you for joining us, and we will be back here next Saturday. We have some comments here on the side. Nevertheless, we must do what we have to do. Must close time is fast spent. We're going to be looking at the comments and we'll respond to you individually. So we're so glad you are able to join us today. And if you are there, we want to say thank you so much for your comments, and thank you for joining us today. Our topic was the role of the Ministries of Finance and Commerce in the growth of the Liberian economy. So hopefully we are looking forward to a new Liberia We are looking forward to new things happening. And in order for that to happen, that means we have to do new things. We can't continue in the same direction and expect new things to happen. So, gentlemen, I want to say thank you for joining me again on the roundtable. And I look forward to see you next week, Saturday, on time and right here in studio. God bless you and have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you.
So much.
Yeah.